Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Alicia. I am a therapist and a college professor, and today I have for you Miss LaShelle Whitmore. She is a Reiki healer. I got to meet her at the All Black National Convention when I did my session on trauma, and we were talking about trauma and healing after the session, and LaShelle was such an interesting person, and I thought she was so fascinating. She shared with me the work that she does with Reiki and the work that she does with people who need to heal from trauma. And so I welcome LaShelle. I welcome you here today. Could you tell everybody very briefly about who you are and how you became interested in Reiki?
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. I had a wonderful time at the convention. Again, LaShelle Whitmore, Blissful Therapy is my brand. That's my company. And I have a natural skincare line. I do holistic health and wellness. And I teach people how to heal themselves, how to get better, how to get healthy in a holistic way. And so energy healing, I started off teaching school for 20 years. I've been making soaps and butters and deodorants and all the things, all the natural things, teaching people how to garden and grow their own food and, just kind of live a natural lifestyle. And at the time, I had debilitating migraines. I was sick as a dog. 12 years I was dealing with these migraines, taking all the medicines, going to all the doctors, and everybody's just kind of like, yeah, it's hereditary. Your mom has them, your grandmother has them. It's just something you'll deal with. And then I met a young lady who invited me to an event. And at this event, this lady's like, hey, try out a Reiki session. I had no clue what Reiki was. This older Russian lady, moves around and takes some deep breaths and moves her hands around. And I thought nothing of it. I really thought it was like a waste of time. Nothing's going on. And now going from 3 to 5 migraines a week, popping pills all the time, can't drive, can't function. I didn't have a migraine for 6 months. And I'm like, okay, that was amazing, and 6 months later, I called the lady back because I'm, if anyone who has migraines knows you have to do all kind of stuff. It's like, okay, no chocolate, got to eat a certain amount of, you got to avoid all these things, keeping a diary, taking all the meds. Nothing happened for 6 months. So every 6 months I would keep going to this lady, and I just kind of realized, like, this is something I want to know more about. This is something I want to understand. She was able to teach me more about the field of Reiki, but she also taught me like who I was spiritually. She said, oh, LaShelle, you're an empath. You're an empath, and that's why you're not doing well. That's why you're sick. You're gifted. And so she kind of explained to me and kind of taught it to me. Being a math science teacher, I didn't believe it. Math science, I'm like totally logical. Sounds like, shenanigans to me. I'm not going for it. And the first time I realized that this stuff is real, just energetically. I knew that the headaches were going away, but didn't really trust it. And then, so imagine me at the front of the classroom, and I'm writing on the board, and I felt like somebody just cracked a baseball bat on my head. I'm just like, wincing in pain. I'm holding my head. I'm doing the whole nine. And she's been telling me, LaShelle, you're a sponge. You feel everything. You feel everything. That's why you're getting so sick. And then a kid walks in with the ice pack from recess, saying he just got hit in the head in the same exact spot that I just got hit in. And so it helped me understand empathy, and it helped me understand energy. And so I was sold. I started studying and everything else. And Reiki kind of, it awakens other things. It kind of helps you understand all of it, metaphysical things, way more clearly. Yeah.
Wow, LaShelle, you are definitely a healer, and you have all these wonderful gifts. And of course, your gift is probably teaching and instructing, but you went into math and science when really it all got pulled. So you walked away from it all, and now you are just energy healing. You are deep into it. How brave and wonderful is that? You got those messages, you listened to yourself, and you were able to carry it all out. And look at you. This is really wonderful. I did not know this history about you. Wow. So what is Reiki? Like, what actually is it exactly?
It's really exciting. It's so interesting. So Reiki is all about understanding energy. Everybody has energy flowing within them. We know about starting a car. We know about powering up a stove. We know energy. But if you think about the human body, we're 98.6 degrees. That's a lot. We are we're like conductors of energy, right? And so if you think about the shift that happens when you hug somebody, think about when you're sad and you're crying your eyes out, and then you hug somebody, and then that warmth that you feel and that comfort that you feel and that shift of energy. Think about how you feel when you hold a baby. Think about a mother's love, how she's able to soothe and help someone who's not feeling well. So it's a transference and you're kind of shifting energy. And so with Reiki, with the headaches, someone was able to hold their hands. I don't physically touch people. I don't physically, it's not the same as massage. I hold my hands above a person, and moving my hands above their different parts of their body, different meridians, I feel pain. I feel cold, I feel hot, and you're kind of learning how to attune yourself and really just be sensitive enough, still enough, aware enough to feel those things. Now, if I feel pain, I can literally physically pull, shift, move, and fan those things out. If I feel emptiness, I can kind of fill those spaces up. And so connecting to the energy centers of a person, working with chakras, working with auras, working in their chakras are the energy points in your body. There's 7 major ones, but they're way more than that. And just moving, shifting, manipulating energy. This helps with physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual ailments. And so sometimes some people come and they're just like, my leg hurts. Again, headaches, things like that, but also emotionally. Let's say you have anxiety, let's say you have stress, let's say you have depression. Those things have feelings and energy that gets stuck. It gets stagnant. It's something that's hard to let go of, and it's something that, medicine may not get rid of. Sometimes just talking about it doesn't get rid of. So let's physically shift and move those energies, and people just get better. Yeah,
I really like that, because being a healer on that sort of energetic level, it almost reminds me of kind of what I do in my practice, because I have so many people have anxiety, depression, they have marital issues, and they come with this energy, and a lot of it comes from a place of not feeling safe and not feeling loved and not feeling validated. And I spend so much time like tuning into everybody and making sure that everyone is heard, and I'm trying to facilitate. And when I do this all day long, it really has it's like I absorb a lot of what they're doing. So at the end of the day, I have to like literally wash all of that off, because it takes so much work in our community to dig into and to really try to help people get along, help families come together. And a lot of it comes from painful memories. And I work with a lot of people that we can talk about some of these painful memories. But how do you deal with trauma or painful memories in your work?
Yeah, it's crazy. There's so many things. I'm so glad you talked about how when people are releasing and pouring everything out, it's a thing. It actually sticks. It sticks to the walls of the room. I think Maya Angelou talked about how pain and trauma sticks to the walls of the room when people are arguing and screaming and yelling. It physically shifts the cells in the body, right? They literally change a person. I don't know if you've heard of the water test, where they looked up and they'll speak ill about, one set of water, speak positive, and then they'll freeze it, and then the icicles change differently, or, the rice test, and the rice changes, and, one will mold and one doesn't. The words change everything. The things that we experience change everything in our bodies. And so what I realize is in my practice, people will think they're sick, and they'll think that this is this incurable thing that can't change. And sometimes I think the source is, like, I don't know where, fibromyalgia comes from, or endometriosis, or this autoimmune disease, or these cancers and all these horrible illnesses that feel like they don't go away. And I'm able to sit and physically find it and shift it and move it. But the thing that's really interesting is that sometimes the source of those diseases and those sources of those pains are, even if they don't even know the memory is there, I can get to it. You know what I'm saying? And so if I'm moving my hand over your throat, or I move my hand over your heart, and I find this painful spot, and they're just like, oh no, I have, congestive heart failure, and I'm taking all my pills, and I should get better. And I'm like, that's that shame that your mother put on you. or that's that guilt from that thing you did when you were a teenager, or there's that trauma that happened when you were a child. I feel it intuitively. I get the insight on what's going on. And we're able to change it, shift it, manipulate it. And there's different ways that I go about it. Now, there's different ways that I go about it. And so sometimes helping a person make the connection is enough. Sometimes it's like, so the intuitive guidance session is one where I'm going to put it in your face and I'm going to explain to you what is actually happening. So you're feeling stuck, you're feeling upset, you're feeling sad, you don't know what's going on. Okay, let's pull up some of those old memories. Now, in a safe way, let's pull it up, let's face it, and now let me give you what I see. And so when I'm working with a person, I may be able to see the full story because you're only seeing it from your vantage point. But when we talk about old painful memories, you might have been a child when this thing happened. You may have been a teen. You may have been a toddler. You may have been an elementary age student. You can only remember it from the mind of a child. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. And so if I'm remembering my dad walked out of the door and he never came back and he did it because of me, because I just dropped a plate on the floor and my dad left me, and then and they forget about it and they swallow it, but all their life they're thinking it was my fault that I lost my dad, and my mom was sad after that, and they're just going on, and it just goes into this spiraling. And I'm able to say, actually, I can see everybody's, because if you're in a different vantage point, I can see this is what happened with mom, this is what happened with dad, this is the decisions that were made, and that they didn't even notice the plate drop. And then so people are able to find peace. All these years I carried that guilt, and it wasn't me after all. So that's one way. Is I'm able to kind of get in and see things for as what they really are. I can see a better point of view and just help them find understanding. Another thing is sometimes the painful memory is solid. It is valid. Someone did something to you that was not just, and so sometimes people are having these really horrible memories and terrible things that happen. And so sometimes it's like, let's get in there, let's shift it, let's cut some cords, let's cut up some entanglements, let's tear up some things to where that's just not present anymore. And so we look for some easy solutions. And sometimes it can be, people are able to journal it out, and sometimes they're able to talk it out. But sometimes it's like, this thing is dark and ugly and heavy and it's making you sick. So let's pull those threads and pull those cords and let's physically cut them and remove them to where they go away. And it's crazy how people just get better. That it's not something that's ongoing. It took us 10 years to get through this thing. 2 or 3 sessions and it's over and the memory's gone, and now I can be happy again. Now I can be, the depression has left, the painful memory's gone, and I can go on and chase after my happiness now. And so that's another thing. And then sometimes even to just sit and kind of teach the techniques and the strategies on, because sometimes we'll put a thing down and then we'll go reach back and try to pick it back up again. It's like, I'm healthy, I'm good, I'm positive, there's no more trauma, there's nothing for me to protect myself from, but I have this old habit of dragging this baggage behind me, and let me go back and look, you know what I'm saying? So really kind of retraining the habit and getting rid of a habit of finding something more healthy to put in that place. So
it's almost like if you eliminate the bad habits, then what are you going to do? You really shouldn't take anything away from somebody without first giving them something to replace it with. That makes perfect sense. I love what you were saying about, I know it's that's a Japanese guy who did the water experiment. Yes. I can't remember his name offhand, but if 70% of our body is water, then that makes perfect sense that what we consume and what we think about ourselves and what people project onto us, that makes sense that would have an effect on how we see ourselves, what we hold in our bodies. That makes perfect sense. And I really love what you're saying, where you go into painful memories specifically related to what's going on for them. But, I don't really like to open up Pandora's box necessarily. Yeah. We don't have to talk about everything, but it's all just the pressing things that's going on. And what I was wondering from you was, because you talked about how you can see your clients release that guilt and release that shame and how important it is to them. What have you noticed on the other side of that? What do you notice from your clients that you work with on the other side of that release?
You asked that. It's such a good thing, because sometimes, and the thing that I love too is that I can't do harm. You know what I'm saying? I'm very I take my steps. You know what I'm saying? I really take my time with it. I make sure that I'm not going to cause any kind of pain in the person. But when we get that darkness out, we get to those shadows, we remove it, and they're no longer present. Oh my gosh, my clients are living their best lives. It makes me so happy when I see people walking in their divine purpose. They're moving with intention. When I say people are finding their dream guy, they're at the top of their fields. They're making money. They're building relationships, partnerships growing. I mean, I've had people who are making $20,000 who are making six figures. You know what I'm saying? I have people who are making six figures that are now stacking up millions. And it's just it's really good to see people at their best, but you just don't realize how much that dark stuff can really just hold you back. You know what I mean? It's just like the guidance, but it's almost just like just a heavy burden. Like you're walking around with boulders on your back, and it's not that you don't have the ability to do it. It doesn't mean that you don't have the intelligence, it's just a matter of all this stuff is just weighing you down. So once we just cut it out, release it, and because the other thing too is when you're walking around with dark stuff on you, and in you attract it. And so you attract some chaos, and you attract some disaster, and you attract some terrible relationships, and people are betraying you left and right, and people are lying to you. And it's just, and so when all of that's no longer present, then you're just happy. You know what I mean? And so then you're drawing more happiness to you like a magnet. And it's just really, it's really good to see. One of my clients is, she's a chef now. And it's like she's a chef, and she's cooking, and she has cookbooks, and she has cooking class, and she has all these things. When we met, she wasn't there yet. You know what I'm saying? And another client who's making six figures, and she's really thriving in her career. And every time I look up, there's another award she's receiving. She's on stage somewhere. She's growing. Her staff is huge. She's just doing all these things. And it's just, marriage is being saved. So where they were like, I'm packing up, I'm looking for a new lease, I'm getting out of this house, and and then next thing you know, you see them smiling and on vacation, hugging and kissing everything. It's just really a great thing to see the other side of the coin, after they finally get through, the ugly stuff. So it's really nice. It's really rewarding.
Yeah, this is so important, because I think sometimes we blame everybody else for our own problems, and we really need to really look in the mirror to see how we're contributing to it, because you're in your own way. And it's just really weird how I can have the same exact experience with another person, and they'll come away with it, everything was awful, and I'll be like, no, I thought that was like the most enlightening thing in the world, and it is. It's who you are, and what you take with you, so people can get a hold of you, because you do this online, right? So they can get a hold of you, they can feel stuck, you want to get out of your own way. How do people get a hold of you? Tell people how to connect with you, so that we can all start the new year getting out of our own way.
Absolutely. So you can find me at blissful-therapy.com is where you can find my products and all that good stuff. Calendly.com/blissful-therapy. That's my website to schedule, book an appointment with me. You can always email me at LaShelle@blissful-therapy.com. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook at Blissful Therapy as well. So you can find me. I'm all over the place. I'm Blissful Therapy everywhere. And inbox me, schedule an appointment, and I would love to help.
Oh gosh. Well, LaShelle, thank you so much. This was a blissful conversation with you. And I love this. I love this Reiki healing. I love how it can help speed up a lot of the work that I do with my clients who have all these painful memories and all these things coming up for them. This is a really good addition. So I will be talking to you, talking about you to the people that I work with, definitely. And I thank you so much for coming on. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye, guys.